nice little map of the course layout showing all the 156 turns and elevations from the starting line. You see it 93, 90 feet. And as you progress up the mountain, today we ran from Glen Cove, which is at 11,440, up to not quite mile 16 here. You progress past mile 16 and obviously go up in altitude, and you're at 14,110 at the top. But that's kind of the overall of the course itself. We ran up the hill early this morning for our first practice this week and blew the seal out of the rack, so that's what Jameson, what's up Jameson? That's what Jameson's working on, bolting back together now. Just putting the rack back in it. So we go have another crack at it in the morning. Let's see, it's, what time is it now? Does anyone know? 3:30. 3:30? Oh, so we have to be up in 11 hours. Awesome. All right, the driver's compartment on the fastest passenger LMP3. Nice D153 display there on the steering wheel, along with a C127 dash display and obviously a 15-way keypad. Looks like we have a can of brake clean in case of any of those awkward driver moments where he soils himself and needs something to clean up with. Hiding down there, PDM 30, Motec M150 with custom, ST Consulting / Obsidian software in it. This is the business end of the LMP3 with the 5.3 Nissan V8, normalized by a pair of Zona rotor turbo superchargers, along with this nice air-to-air charge air heat exchanger before the twin drive-by-wire throttle bodies that lead to the plenum. X-Track gearbox. All of the sorts of things you need to try to go up a mountain starting at 9,000 feet and ending at 14,000. This is basically an LMP3 converted to run Pikes Peak. You see the exhaust exit down here in the diffuser. A little bit of a blown diffuser idea with the turbine outlet and the wastegate outlet feeding into the diffusers down there on the bottom. The standard air inlet duct, which runs over the roof and normally would feed air into the airbox on the normally aspirated engine, has been repurposed to feed air to the ductwork inside the back of the bodywork here. It's now trapped in this little box, which forces all the air through the charge air heat exchanger. It's a pretty clever use of the existing hole in the body for that application. This shot of one of our tie-out wastegates. And then of course our tie-out blow-off valve. Of course we have one on each side of the plenum. It's actually divided all the way to the throttle body from the turbo. It becomes common in the plenum of the engine. Here's the other what do we say? Bob, I guess you'd say.
Geez, Shane, why is that spring so soft?
That's for me to know and you to wonder about. So that little bit of anti-lag will give us, well, like around about 140 kPa of manifold pressure at 3,300 RPM, so that should help us launch without killing the motor. And we're headed off back to the top of the mountain for test day number 2. We got to sleep in today yet because we're running the bottom section, which starts at the starting line, runs up to Glen Cove. It is currently 2:45 a.m. Waiting for my turn in the bathroom, and we're wheels up in 15 minutes. Stay tuned. And now at 3 a.m., it's time to go do the most important thing of the day, which is get first breakfast from everyone's favorite breakfast place, 7-Eleven. Highly important. Kevin, did you not require breakfast?
I have 2 large breakfasts.
I have the breakfast of champions here. We have some mean bean. That's very important. Just for something extra, a little bit of Starbucks Frappuccino. We have plastic or wax donuts. And for some health, a Cliff Bar. Yeah, I was very quick getting that breakfast, actually. This place is quite convenient, this convenience store. Would you agree?
I agree.
For the love of Christ, will you just eat the donut? He's not going to move until you eat it. There. Is that so bad?
Yes, I feel so violated.
Tell him thanks, Daddy.
Yeah, tell him thanks, Daddy. Whoa. Are we going the wrong way?
Tell me.
What happened?
I said thank you, Daddy. What about no?
Oh, no, I don't think he meant it. Say it like you mean it, Kevin.
No, I meant it.
No, dude, say it like you mean it.
Look me in the eyes when you say it.
Dude, we can't race if you don't say it.
I love you.
That's believable. Come there with my flashlight? Why? Is this a trick? Am I going to see a worm?
Yes.
I'd better shut the camera off for this. It's probably not something I really want to see. I wonder if that's what this does.
Does it?
Nope. All right, what is it?
Block.
Oh, that's it? I thought you were going to do something disgusting. Sorry.
Oh no, I haven't got any of that.
Well, normally you would have done.
Fucking
Ice, ice, baby. So, as you can see, the scoop here is load the truck up. Trailer's hooked to the truck already, but the tires have to go on the tire rack. Generator's got to go in the back, start it up, get the tire warmers going so that by the time we get to the top of the mountain, the tires are warm and ready to go on the car. After this, we'll go line up and wait for our turn to go up the hill. All right, so it's 3:45 in the morning, and the gig is you line up here at the entrance gate to Pikes Peak, except for this guy and this guy. I see, they're officials. Anyway, so you wait up until they open the gate up at, like, I think around 4, a little after 4, then head up to the mountain. So there's 3 test areas. There's a lower, middle, and upper section, and they let everybody get up there and get their car parked before they obviously start running cars on it, because it's the same road that you're racing on that you're driving the trucks up there on. Anyway, back to sleep for a little bit.
Turkey gobbler.
There we go.
Morning.
Not quite 4:30 in the morning. You just start to see the sun peeking up over the horizon there. Looking to the east, and here we are setting up in the parking lot down here at the starting line. Starting line's actually over there where the other cars are. And the mountain's just off in the distance behind that. Dark, but you can just maybe, I don't know if it'll pick it up, little dot in the middle of the screen. It's Jupiter, but it's ridiculously bright to the naked eye. Hey Kevin, you want to be in my video?
Sure.
So we have both laptops out with appropriate software for, yes, you may fire it.
Yep. Fire when ready.
Oh, firing. Still checking for oil pressure, I hope. Much better. So we have the assorted laptops with different softwares connected to the car, getting it prepped for its run at the America's Mountain over there. So as we can see here up on the mountain with a test at the starting line of the launch control we set up yesterday, we get a peak of 148 absolute, so that's like 7 pounds of boost. It's probably 10 pounds up here, but that should be enough to motivate the thing to leave the starting line. Well, with all hopefulness anyway, right Kevin?
Correct.
And installing driver, please wait.
Loading driver. Mama said these was my magic shoes.
Impatiently waiting.
Mama said there'll be days like this, there'll be days like this, my mama said. very valuable information. So we finally got the launch control to sort of work, but what happens right here is the traction control comes on and then kills the motor because it's trying to drag the engine down to match this wheel speed. So we have to find a workaround to get rid of this problem. So that'll be, me and Kevin have already dreamed up a way, so now we just have to implement it. Right, Kevin?
Correct. Direct direction.
So it has all the same number of parts it started with, at least it appears to have the same number of parts it started with, so that's always a win. So the good news is today we learned some stuff. Mostly what we learned is how to make traction control work better. Pretty much everything else we did on the car functioned as it was expected to, which is kind of amazing actually. We made some pretty reasonable progress running up this sector. We ran 4 minutes and 6 seconds, I think, which is actually pretty good, pretty respectable, so we're happy. Ran a 4:09 and a 4:11 and a 12, so we kind of feel like yeah, this was a good day actually, and it almost seems like so far, well, I don't want to jinx it, need to find some wood to knock on, that nothing's wrong with it, so that's a first. We ended up getting the inlet manifold pressure up to 1.5 bars, so we are, you know, 7.5 pounds of boost at sea level up here, and figured out how to get the thing to launch, got the turbo shaft speeds balanced left to right. Mixture and all that stuff's good. We moved the traction control around a little bit, and overall we're real happy. So it's a successful day. Hard to complain about today. Until we go to the shop and take it apart, find out what's broke. Okay, so we were able to put this thing up on jacks in the back, spin the rear wheels, and test our transition from launch control to traction control. So you could see here, like, engine RPM, it's up on the launch engine limit curve here. And then at this point, it transitions to traction control. And when it goes to traction control, it lets it switch, obviously, to the wheel speed based control instead of just the launch RPM by ground speed. So now we know that when we launch, it will stay in launch mode until it's time to go into traction control. And we won't have that bog that we got when we were testing it up at the starting line earlier. So yeah, I think we're good to go. Everything else is good. We're gonna load it in the trailer for the first time ever and be out of here like before it's dark, which is kind of rad. All right, day 3. We ready, Andy?
Hello. Yes. We're ready.
Back to the grind. Load her up, put tires on, put generator in, tire warmers, go up and get in line. Going up to the top today, so we're going to go up to 16 Mile, where there's a little bit of a paddock. I think, what's 16 Mile, like 12,500 or something like that feet?
Yeah, that's about right.
And then run from there up to the summit. So we'll see how we get on. And here we are again. Reminds me of being at the end of the road at Bonneville waiting to get on in the morning. So at 4 o'clock they'll open the gate. Off we all go. Find our spot. Everybody's divided up so that there's not a bunch of people all in one area. There's 3 different separate areas, so everybody should get sort of an equal shot at it. Oh, we'll get run down. This must be an official. Or he just knows somebody. She's a little tight just to drive up with a regular car, let alone race up.
Yeah. There's some tables.
Yep. So this is the 16 Mile paddock. We're up here at about 12,700 foot. It's about 4:45 in the morning. Everyone that's going to run up here today has found their place, getting set up. Local barometric pressure here is about 63 kPa, which is sea level's 101325. So we're roughly 63% of the pressure that we would experience at sea level. And we are a couple thousand feet still below the summit. It's about 40 degrees. And yeah, get the thing out of the box and see what we can do with it. Sun's not quite up yet. It's pretty amazing, the view up here. It's hard to really capture it accurately on video. Kind of just have to see it, but it's pretty stunning. So we've got light, and the first horn just got blasted, so technically we are green track. We're getting tires and warmers and stuff like that on the car, and we'll warm it up and give it a rip. Get away from that stinking ass thing. It's running ethanol, so it smells like a bad morning after too many margaritas. Still smell it down here. So this is a 16-mile Devil's Playground. We are currently at 12,900 feet altitude. The summit is actually not there. It's beyond that, and it's another 1,500 feet, no, 1,200 feet to the summit. So we run from here to the summit today, practice day 3. Local density altitude's just north of 14,000 feet. We are relative air density compared to sea level 62% here, 60% at the top of the mountain. So if you have a 100 horsepower engine or a 1,000 horsepower engine, everything else being the same, it makes 600 horsepower at the summit. Sunrise here is pretty much like nowhere else other than maybe Bonneville. And you can clearly see for, I don't even know how many miles, probably 50 or 100. Out that direction past the edge of the foothills is Denver and or Colorado Springs. It's a unique venue to say the least. And with some of this snow up here, and as you go further up, you actually end up with some permafrost like you'd have way north. And so the permafrost actually melts at different rates during the day, and so that changes the road. Oh, somebody's giving it a whirl. So it changes the road surface and actually changes the heave in the road, and it makes it where, you know, effectively the road is alive. Because if you practice on it today at whatever, 6 a.m., come back tomorrow at 9 a.m., it's not the same road. So that's part of the challenge of this whole thing. I mean, not to mention that you're running up the side of a mountain starting at 9,300 feet and ending at 14,000. But it is there is, I don't know how to describe the feeling of being up here and being at this event. It reminds me of Bonneville. It's really a lot more almost man versus nature than it is competing head to head with another team. There are teams in the same class, but there's kind of a mutual level of respect given to. There's somebody coming up from Glen Cove, which is what we did the other day. So they run up to here and then they'll stop. And then they'll wait for everyone else to make their way up, and then they'll head back down and try it all again. Meanwhile, we run from basically here on up to the summit. Again, everybody waits up there until you all clear, and then they all come back down again. So, yeah, anyway, it's pretty amazing. I'm super excited and proud to be able to be a part of it. Looking for a strong result this year after a couple of mishaps the last 2 years. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. Devil's Playground, 16 miles up, 12,900 feet. It's run 1 of the day for fastest pastor in the LMP3. This is going to be just a nice, easy stroll. The surface up here is super rough, so we just want to go nice and easy. This thing's not got suspension for an off-road course, so we're just going to go nice and easy and see how it is. We'll have a second go here. Well, that was less like a total hunk of shit. So it looks like our software change fixed the thing from dying when it comes off the launch control into the traction control yesterday. You can see a nice blend here where it spins the rear tires and then slowly feeds the wheel speed back down to match the actual vehicle speed, and then it's on traction control the rest of the way out low gear. And I looked at the G meter and it's pulling 1 G from about right there all the way to the top of low gear. So that's probably about as good as we can do on those tires cold, and this isn't where we're going to launch the car anyway, but it's nice to know that it'll do it here, because if it'll do it here, it'll for sure do it at 3,000 feet lower. So that was a win. One of the other things I work on up here, well, all the way up Pikes Peak really, is balancing the turbos left to right, because obviously you're giving up some efficiency if one turbo's trying to outrun the other. So the way to do that is look at the turbo speed, which is this trace here, and you've got left and right overlaid over each other, and then I'll look at the entire outing, which would have been starting line to finish line, and over here we have the minimum turbo speed for both turbos, the maximum turbo speed for both turbos, and then the average turbo speed. And what I try to do is adjust the control left to right until I get them balanced, as close as possible. 200 RPM over a 3-minute run for an average speed, I'm not going to worry too much about that. They're pretty well balanced, and we're able to make, we probably could make more boost up here. It makes about 185 kPa absolutes, about 13 pounds of boost on the 2-step, which is more than we actually run on the race course. And we're able to maintain about 7.5 pounds of boost, sea level boost up here. So that's probably as hard as I need to push it. I've got the control working like I want. I've got a nice balance left to right, so I know the turbos are both doing their job efficiently. And that's an important thing when we're trying to control the temperatures as we climb up this mountain. These are a pair of XY plots that are effectively giving me a compressor map. I have air mass flow through the engine along this axis, and the vertical axis is pressure ratio. And so you can see where the turbos spend their time during the run. Each of these dots is a sample point. You've got left side turbo and right side turbo, and having an idea of where the turbo is running on its map, basically generating a compressor map. The color band here, the rainbow color, is turbo shaft speed. So obviously this is high speed, high pressure ratio. We're achieving a pressure ratio up here with, like I said, 7.5 pounds of boost over sea level, but keeping in mind that we're starting with 60% of sea level pressure. So the turbo is actually multiplying the ambient pressure by about 2.6 to 2.7 to achieve our 7.5 pounds of over sea level boost. So the turbo's working a lot harder than the 7.5 pounds seems to indicate. And by having the ability to graph this data, we can call Robert from Zona and tell him where we're operating compared to the compressor map that he has generated for this compressor, and make sure that we're in the highest efficiency point all the way through the course of the run. So we just made our third run, and his time is improving on every run, which is good. It's really rough up there. It's really difficult to go fast because of the road conditions, but he's doing a great job. And it looks to me like we would be able to, combining all of our times from the sectors together, potentially get a run up the hill in the 9-minute range, which is, that's a pretty big, the 10-minute deal is a pretty big barrier. Anyway, we're going to give it another rip here. We keep making small changes and trying to improve things, and we'll see what happens. Pretty good. Here comes the parade back. That's our last shot at it, since we're past time now. So it's time to put her in the box. How was it, Pastor Don?
Awesome.
Right on. That's what we want to hear. So that's generally going to be it here from Pikes Peak. It's time to load the car up in the box. We have no known major issues, which is kind of good. So now we can go over the car and make sure we don't have any big issues about to happen, and then come back up for race week in 2 weeks and do it all over again. We get a couple practices and some qualifying days, so we'll do all the same stuff all over again.
I really don't. I feel like
The good news, the bumps will change by the time we come back up here.
Yeah, it'll be different, don't worry.
that's true. Yeah, why am I even worried about it?
It's small victories, right? Overall, what
Are
do
you
you think?
recording me right now?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm in my.
I'm from the waist up, don't worry.
All right. Yeah.
So, overall, what do you think?
Man, the car is good. I'll tell you what, you guys really hit out of the park on the tunes. And that last change, whatever you guys did there, so much better.
For the
on car.
last. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did. I moved the injection timing about 200 degrees. Just I wondered if it would do something.
It did. So
Okay, so that's better.
Shortened up my runway coming out.
Yeah, that's what it would have fixed. Everything below 3,000, it would have been.
It did.
Should have made better. Okay, all right. So that's the right path.
Yep. So, but it was good. Car handled good. I think Andy's got a pretty good setup for those bumps.
Really, that's
I
awesome.
think he does, and I think tuning seems really, Really good. Like I said, I think I got to let it idle up top a little bit more.
I'm not paying you extra to say that.
But
You know that, right?
No, no.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm not paid at all.
Oh,
but if
okay.
you want to give me free,
Right, got it.
free
Right.
hours, I'm good with that.
Well, you never know.
No, I'm super happy. The crew's done great. Everybody's done good. We work well together.
Badass, man. High five.
Awesome. Thanks, Shane.
You bet. These guys are all. Everybody's happy because we don't have massive amounts of known work to do yet. And we had kind of a relatively good week, so that's good. So this is that view that we were checking out earlier from 12,900 feet, looking down onto the valley below, which is got to be probably 6,000 anyway. And then over that ridge, the next valley over where Colorado Springs is. Anyway, that's the lay of the land when the sun's up. From Devil's Playground, which I learned is so named because of the way the lightning jumps from rock to rock when it strikes up here during the monsoon season. Anyway, I think that's us signing off from up here. Might do something else at the house, or might just give up altogether because I'm tired. It's down there.